Good afternoon. Here's my communication chart for Sunflower Elementary. Before I dig deeper into the content, I will say I had a difficult time kind of creating this. It really challenged me a little bit. I mean, I enjoy making graphics. I don't think it's really a outrageous strength of mine, but I do like making thought maps and getting kind of thinking out there. And so I did enjoy that piece of it. But I will say, with all the tools being new to me, manipulating them and trying to figure out which one to use and which one would be best was difficult and took probably more time than it should have. And okay, so as I go through now, and now I know how to use some of those new tools, that's good. But let me walk you through kind of my map here. So, on one hand, what we have here is the internal communication. And I was very intentional on wanting to pick this graphic, and here's why. You see at the layers that are involved in the communication in the school. So, at the very center is administration. Next layer is building leadership team, followed by PLCs, which includes the whole faculty, and then the entire staff. And so, as decisions are being made and communication is being woven in and out, it's important that you pay attention to each of these layers. Whether you're seeking information and feedback to make a decision or you're pushing information out to everyone, it's important that all of these layers are attended to. And that's how we build collective ownership in the work. And one thing that's really important in this distributed leadership model that I always like to include at the end of any meeting is not only who will do what and by when, right? So we're kind of organizing our thinking, but I always ask the question, and how will it be communicated into whom? And I think that's really important because oftentimes those that are at the center making decisions often forget the impact that it has on others. Another layer that we add in that too is advocacy. And so when making a decision or thinking through something, it's important to say whose voice is represented and whose voice might not be represented. And that way you'll want to pull those people in or at least seek their feedback before making a decision. And that's all part of a clear communication loop. Next, over here, you see external, and that goes in the same way. Advocacy could reach mostly out to these groups as well. When making a decision internally, it's important to see where the voices are and the representation externally as well. And so, if you scroll your eyes down here further, you can see how these partnerships work together. And you'll notice the two-way arrows. And again, I want to really emphasize that this is about gaining information and giving information. And so it's about knowing what level. So if it is school-wide focus all the way down to student, you see the administrator is a part of everything and needs to be in the know, doesn't have to make all the decisions, but needs to be in the know about what's going on. But as you go across, that's not true for everyone. And so there's different focuses depending on the level. This is a big one, level of empowerment. When making a decision, what level of empowerment will someone have? The only person that really has full level of empowerment in anything is the administrator. Now, that administrator can choose to distribute it, and I would strongly recommend doing that as much as possible. Unless it's a logistical, technical thing, then maybe it's easier if just one person makes it. However, most of these complex issues needs to be distributed, and you notice that it's really distributed between the BLTs or the PLC, so depending on if it's a school-wide issue or a specific grade level issue. And then also, I would say parents and students have really a lot of autonomy and need to be respected and given that. The biggest one that they'll probably have is advocacy. And as you move through, there are some that don't have full levels of empowerment or very rarely. And then the last piece down here is the how. So this is important. This is really how communication will need to take place. This is in person, one on one in groups. So you'll see that at different ranges all the way down. So the administrator might communicate to someone one on one, most of the time in probably a group setting. Written. So there's a lot of written communication. So it's very clear. Visual, so it's in alignment, that this kind of goes with this aligned between all the different things that are happening. And then I would say also digitally. So as you can see, I'm almost out of my time here for this, that there are a lot of different moving pieces and it's important to consider them all. So thank you for everything and your attention, and I'm excited to see this communication chart in action to hopefully create a feedback loop that is preventative and self-correcting.